director, the Eberhart3, you were liable for everything. I mean, everything and everything. You were the person of the company. So if, if the company went bankrupt, you were liable for absolutely everything that went wrong. Or if your employees did something, you were liable for that. You're completely liable. They limited it, and I can't remember what it is, but it was really great. It's something like, it's limited to the value of your car and half the value of your house, or something like that. But anyway, I didn't have a house, that's fine. I didn't have a car either. They changed the authority of the auditor. This is a statutory auditor, Conciliaco. This is gas, stop doing this. I got Steve Jobs. So a lot of things happen. I'm not going all the way. They revised the bankruptcy law too, which was really kind of cool. And a lot of things happen, and here's the same thing with the things are. We reevaluated these things after all these things happened. And we decided that, look, the favorable rational rule of law, those corporate governance changes, the authority of the auditors, the change to consolidated accounting, all those things, shareholder rights, and all that, really improved the rule of transparency in Japan. Knowledge intensity stayed the same because it couldn't get any better. An interesting thing happened, nothing to do with those, but the high-quality mobile workforce really changed in Japan. I don't know if you know this, but it's really, really changed. There's a good example, and just an anecdotal story. Mitsubishi Shoji is a trading company, and it's one of the desirable places for a college graduate to go work. Okay, if you graduate college, just a place you go. And they have a training program, executive training program, lasts about 10 years. And before 1990, on average, over a 10-year period, they would lose 2% of the people through whatever. They quit, or they got run over by a pickup. Whatever, they lost 2%. In the last 4 years or so, they've lost 35% a year. People are just going, they're saying, thank you very much for the 2 years of training. I'm going to go work for Goldman Sachs or whatever, or Lehman Brothers until they went bankrupt, or that kind of thing. Results-oriented meritocracy, this has really happened. The seniority system is breaking down, particularly among the new companies. It's almost completely gone away. Climate tolerance failure, this has changed a lot. Among entrepreneurs in Japan, and there are quite a few of them, there is no particular shame to ruining a company. Unless, or it's the same as here. In other words, if you ruin a company because you're a bad person and you paid yourself lots of money and you bought a boat and all the money was gone, you'll have a horrid reputation in the United States and you'll have a horrid reputation in Japan. But if you do your absolute best, pay people civilly, lead it well, wind it down properly, there's no damage to your reputation. It's very much like that in Japan. Open business environment. We think this has improved only because people are now quitting jobs and moving around to other companies. University industry cooperation has always been reasonably good, but hasn't particularly changed character. Business can't change. It's still a nice place to live, real safe with great subways, but the food is really, really good. You haven't been there. Food is the best food in the world. There's some really great restaurants when you go. Specialized business inventory. This was a big change. VCs showed up, lawyers showed up, foreign lawyers showed up, foreign educated Japanese lawyers showed up, accountants started showing up from Ernst & Young and all kinds of things. They just started opening shops left and right. It became easy. In fact, there are, some 500 venture capital firms in Japan right now. Cultural leadership, and of course, is global connections. What does this mean for all of us? For entrepreneurs? There's a potential for the startups to improve. It's comparatively to start and license one company there now. And the keys to corporate conduct and governance are in place. We have a better climate for startup financing because there's structure around the transparency of corporate structure, reasonable and global standard accounting. Liability's been limited, and there's a great deal of transparency now that available to you if you want to take advantage of it. That wasn't there before. So we should see a great deal more startups. And do we? Look at that. Through 2007, the ICT, Internet Communications, Telephone industry startup rates 8.2% in Japan versus 10% in the United States, which is recognized as the leader in new businesses in the world. Overall, by the way, Japan's entrepreneurs is 4.5%, but that's because they count farm machinery and stuff, and there's not a lot of their companies there. Equity investments by Japanese venture capital. Starting from 2001, where this is the earliest I can get data out of back. But you can look carefully, you can see this is the blue things are the amount of money, and the dark purple here is the number of companies. And it suggests that Japanese VCs in 2006 did something like 2,700 deals in Japan, investing some close to $3 billion. Compared to the United States, this is from Money Tree. The United States did in 2006, and can you all read this? Because if you can read it, I'll just skip it. The United States did about 4,000 deals in 2006, and did about $30 billion. So roughly the same number of deals, about 10 times the money. There are all kinds of university stuff going on now. This is just an example of a slide from the University of Tokyo's Incubation Center. Not only do they have a place where new companies can incubate, that is, get warm, in this building. And have any of you spent time in Japan? It's a warm country, and they heat it up. If it's winter, they turn up the heat, and if it's summer, they turn up the heat. It's just a hot place. Always. I used to always fight with my staff. I used to come in and turn the heat down, and then when they turn the heat back up. It's just a hot place. So that's why we think they call them incubators there, because it's really warm, and people want to get out and get into their own office. But anyway, University of Tokyo has one of these things. It's a incubator. They've incubated a bunch of companies, and they give them money. They even have an venture capital arm.
What's the name?
University of Tokyo.
Oh.
Tokyo Daga. And it has a fund there called UTEC, about $80 million. And they invest in all kinds of companies, about $4 million per company. And exits. This is really important for the investor. Before 1990, exits in Japan were largely either an IPO or woo. Sorry, but anyway, pass the family on to the kids. I'm trying to make that interesting. And interestingly enough, M&A was considered a failure. If you sold the company, oh, you failed. It's too bad you had to sell the company. And it limited the returns of startup financiers. It's really important to notice, by the way, that IPO and all that stuff is not an event for the entrepreneur. It's not, it's an event for the VC. It gets you out, gets you exited. But if one of the things as a VC, I tell you, if an entrepreneur is looking for the IPO, we don't give that guy money. It's not an event. That's a financing structure. It's the way we get paid back, but it's not the way the entrepreneur should be looking elsewhere. Look at what's happened in M&A, though, in Japan in the past few years. Starting from 200 deals a year to thousands of deals a year in a very short period of time. And almost entirely because of the changes in law. And you can see the biggest component of this is what's called in-end, Japanese companies buying other Japanese companies. But one of the ones that's growing the fastest is out in. You can see it was nothing before. It's quite large now. Foreign companies buying companies in Japan. That's come to zero this year. Let me go backwards. Private equity buyouts. Again, look at the huge difference from the time the laws were passed until the last few years. It's an immense number of PE buyouts happening compared to just a few years ago. It becomes inside American levels. And there were new stock exchanges formed. This is kind of cool. In '63, JASDAQ, the Japanese version of NASDAQ, I guess. Tokyo Stock Exchange, so-called Mothers. And the Osaka Stock Exchange, so-called Hercules. And these were all stock exchanges designed to provide liquidity for small new companies. And sure enough, companies responded. There were 200 or so IPOs in 2000, and stayed about 200 here through 2006. And this is roughly American levels of IPOs. This is think of how many